Hey guys, I guess we can get started. So I'm Shayan. I'm the community manager at Litmus, and we have the contributors and maintainers meet every second and fourth Thursday of the month. This is the last one for April. We'll be doing it again for May. But yeah, so the agenda is something I already shared on Slack, but I'll be talking through it once more. But before I get started, I see a couple of new faces as well that have joined the call. If you are okay sharing a little bit about yourself, please feel free to put that on the chat, who you are, what you do, things like that, so that the other community is also aware. But before, just wanted to say that before we move forward. But let me just come back to this uh, document. So we maintain this contributors and maintainers meet document that is also shared on Slack, and it's also there as part of the YouTube videos that we do. So everything is recorded and is available on YouTube on demand. So we maintain a list of all the calls we have and the recordings for the same, so you can refer back to them based on the agenda, whichever one interests you. So the agenda for today is about progress on the LFX. As you guys are already aware that the term one is going on right now. It's almost two-third way there, and we just have one more month remaining. So we'll get some progress updates on what's been going on for LFX. The second term is going to start from 1st June. So stay tuned for that one. We're gonna have a couple of uh, tasks or items around Terraform, I believe, for the next one. But we'll have more clarity on that soon. But the summer term is going to start from 1st June. So today we're going to have a little bit of progress update on what we have been doing currently for LFX by two of our mentees, Sindhu and Akash. Next up, we also have the JVM fault injection, first PR discussion that was initially kicked off last year, close to November, and we had like a proposal and by Bjorn, and he was the primary champion working on this, and we have our first PR regarding that, and we're gonna have a discussion around it. We have a couple of our maintainers also joining this call. We'll see where we can pivot this into and what are the next steps, some of the feedbacks and things like that. We also wanted to discuss a bit on the improvement areas by Christoph. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Who would be discussing on a couple of areas which we can improve, because if you might have seen, is a bit active on Slack as well, and there's a lot of, I think, areas which we can help document better. So just wanted to understand his POV and also areas where we can improve, maybe in areas where he might face some issues regarding maybe the Litmus agent or maybe the DEX authentication, things like that. So just wanted to have a more clear idea overall. And since the maintainers are also here, maybe we can have like some sort of a discussion around the next steps or the action items we can take away from those. And then lastly, the floor is always open to for new discussions and any new agenda items. That's part of the plan today. And before I hand it over to the LFX mentees, I just wanted to give a small update on the Kubecon video. I am sure Vedant must have already discussed this on the community call, but in case uh, people weren't there on the last community call, on like that happens at 10 p.m. IST Wednesdays, third Wednesdays. So we recently published an interview with Lior Lieberman, who is the SRE at Google. And this was shot on Kubecon EU 2025, which happened this first week of April. And we discussed a lot about how AI is impacting chaos engineering. So it's like a 10 minutes video, 10 minutes interview where he discusses about a lot of things about what's the future for chaos engineering when you use Gen AI, because it's sort of inevitable. Gen AI is everywhere, and we are sort of pivoting and moving in that direction. So what it looks like for AI down the line, because even there was a announcement about KHGPT sort of moving into auto remediation for Kubernetes. So there's a lot of new things in AI space that is coming up, and this interview is certainly interesting. It talks about how much we can actually trust things that are suggested by AI, because it's a very critical, vulnerable system. Should you even trust it or not? And also how models can be trained better, how AI leverages those capabilities, and what does like the next few years down the line look like for chaos engineering if they integrate AI. There's a lot of amazing conversations, uh, things we can take away from, but it's available on the LitmusChaos YouTube just probably the first video right now, because this was the last one we published 8 days ago. So feel free to take a look at it if this is something that interests you. And one more thing before I hand it over is there was a event pretty much last week in India, in New Delhi, in India, where we discussed about how you can destroy your systems using Litmus Chaos, and it was kind of a workshop session thingy, where we had like a group try out Litmus and also like a mix of both newer folks who are into chaos engineering and a lot of people who already uses it in a couple of orgs, like not specifically Litmus, but like chaos engineering in a couple of orgs. So it was a fun discussion. I am sure the video for the same will be available pretty soon in their respective YouTube channels. But this is also an activity that we did last week. And this week, this Saturday, we also have another security chaos engineering talk session on Pune in India as well, in person. So if anybody's in this call is from Pune or anybody later watching is in Pune, feel free to attend that CNCG Pune session as well. This is this Saturday from 10 a.m. onwards. All right, so there is a small update that I wanted to share before I hand it over. Next, I would just like to uh, switch gears and just move it to Sindhu and Akash. So probably we can start with Akash maybe, and then we can go to Sindhu. Akash, you're on mute.
Oh, so
Can you
sorry. I
hear?
thought you did. Hello, guys. I'm Akash. I am currently doing my LFX with my mentors Shubham and Vedant. So my task is the Chaos CI lib CI integration of migrating Litmus to the 3.0 approach. And we have had good progress in that project since our last meet. So since our last meet, we have finished building the Go SDK, and currently we are just trying to fine tune and like test out a few things because this SDK is to be used in the next task, which we are also in progress through. If anybody has checked out that PR as well, for migrating the Chaos CI lib to 3.0 approach, facing a little bit of issue with that, mostly with me trying to figure out how we can migrate this to 3.0. But of course, my mentors, Vedant and Shubham, have been extremely helpful. I thank them for it. And by the way, Shayan, thank you so much for sharing the hosted Litmus Chaos URL as well. I haven't had a chance to use it yet because I was in the middle of my examinations. But yes, I really appreciate that. So hopefully we'll be closing most of that testing by this week. And we plan on finishing the task number 2, at least hopefully full end to end by the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so that the last task, which is not that big of a task, which is updating the GitHub Actions and the GitLab Action CI YAML files, so that will be picked up last. So yes, looking forward to it. And once again, thank you, Shayan, Vedant, and Shubham for your continued support.
Awesome. Yeah. It's great work that you do as well. Like, it's, of course, entirely it's your work as well, and mentors are there to guide you. So, yeah, happy to help. And great job, Vedant. Great job, Shubham, as well, on mentoring.
Thank you.
Awesome. Sindhu, would you want to? Thanks.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So I'm doing my mentorship under Sayan and Miss Smriti. So the task that I am currently working on is making the tutorials for the day 0, day 1, and day 2 users. And since I myself am new to this, I've spent the past 1 month learning about chaos engineering and the chaos center. So I have a good grasp on how things work now, and I should be working on the day 0 flow like by the end of this week, and within 1 month I hope to also be able to create the tutorials for day 1 users as well. And I thank my mentors for helping me understand how things work because it's a very new concept to me, and they've been a great help um, um in aiding me in understanding how things work. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not like I say, I think like the other maintainers also say it's not really restricted to how well you know a certain concept. Like for Sindhu, it was a bit new, the whole Kubernetes and chaos engineering sector. So she's spending a lot of time on learning it, and then she's really been up to speed and also uh, curating like a flow for day zero users as well. So it's great progress in my opinion. So yeah. Thanks, Sindhu, for
Yeah.
doing this
Thank you.
information. Awesome. Good. I think with that we can move on to Bjorn for the JVM fault injection. Vedant, one of our maintainers, also Sarthak is here, who can probably help or give some feedback or take a look at the whole business logic. But the whole concept of let me just share my screen once. The whole concept of this JVM fault injection phase was we had a proposal way back where we sort of discussed on phase wise rollout of the feature. And the first phase was basically to sort of add like the Java agent port to the Litmus core repository. So there's the PR that was raised, and I would like to just hand it over to Bjorn, who can talk through it and also maybe share the business logic or his implementation details.
Yes. Let's see if maybe I can share my screen.
Yeah.
So maybe now you're seeing my browser, hopefully, where I'm looking at the proposal.
Yeah, we can see it, yes.
Yeah, so just a quick recap. So my name is Bjorn. I work at a company called Infor, where I work with chaos engineering, and we have a lot of applications in Java. So that's why I want to run fault injection in Java virtual machines, JVMs. So I've had this tool running on my own, so sort of I've been running it manually, but now I want to run it inside Litmus. So that's why I made this proposal to make it as a fault in Litmus. And the idea is there are two main cases of memory consumption and CPU consumption. And as I think you mentioned, Sayan, I'm rolling it out in phases. So because this is my first major contribution to Litmus, so I want to do it piece by piece so people can review it and accept it if it's okay. So I've just done the first phases, which I've just added the Java code, and then the next part will be to have a build so that a jar is included in the image. Then phase 3 will be to actually call it from the Go code in the Litmus Go repository, or from the Go image, and actually invoke the Java part. So the idea is to do it through a helper pod, the same way as some other experiments, like what's that, the container kill and the network loss, and those kind of experiments work that way. And then in the end, once all the code is in place, add it the chaos chart so that it's actually possible to use it. I'm sort of adding the code first and then making it possible to use it. So, and just stop me if anyone has any questions. So if we look at the code or my pull request, I can just, it's 3 Java classes, so I've tried to keep it as small as possible. There is a manifest we can look at the end. I've included a README to give some sort of a documentation about how it works. Then rather than just explaining all of this from the top down, I'll explain it from the bottom up. So we sort of what it's doing. So we can look at this method called allocate memory. So this is the and if we look to the main part is really this while loop that I'm marking. So this will allocate memory by, so it's a loop, it allocates some memory and then it sleeps for a while and it goes on for as long as for the duration of the experiment. So you can configure all of this, how long it sleeps, what the duration is, and how much amount of memory to allocate. So here, this is where the memory allocation takes place. Then there is an option if we want to keep the references. So if we keep the references, this will simulate a memory leak, and meaning that the Java virtual machine cannot garbage collect this memory until when the experiment is over, it will be released, so it can be garbage collected. But otherwise, if you don't do this, then memory will be garbage collected during the experiment. So both of these scenarios are interesting because sometimes we want to see what happens when the garbage collector has to work a lot, and sometimes you want to see what happens if you have a memory leak. And if there should be an out-of-memory error, so an exception where the Java virtual machine says that you cannot allocate any more memory, then it will sort of keep the loop. It will remain and keep the memory until for the duration of the experiment, but it won't try to allocate any more memory. So that's sort of what happens in the memory allocation. And if we look at the CPU consumption, it has a similar loop, but in this case, we create, so in here you can specify a number of threads that you want to have running. So each thread will roughly occupy a core or something like that. So this one will start up a new thread for the number of threads that you want, and then run this CPU load generator. And it will also, this one will not sleep, so it will just run as much as possible for the duration of the experiment. And if we look at that here, the code for the CPU load generator, this is actually, what's it called, the Fibonacci series. So it's just trying to make the JVM do some sort of a calculation that it won't be caching. And one of the challenges with these kind of things is that the JVM is very good at trying to not consume too much CPU. So you have to trigger it into doing something that will actually use a lot of CPU. So this is at least the easiest method. So what it does is that it's making a sum of two numbers and then assigning it that sum to a new, so you keep making a sum that becomes larger and larger all of the time. So that's sort of the core of these two parts, and then just sort of here how we get to that. So all of this is done through something called an agent, and that's part of what's called the Java Instrumentation API. So that is something that makes it possible to insert code at runtime. So here is the main method, because it's called agent main. So this is the one that will be called when we have inserted this the compiled jar file as an agent. So I'm just passing along a number of arguments, and these will select. So here's a simple if-else case to see if it's the CPU case or memory, or I also have a stop, which is a way to stop any ongoing fault injection. And it's worth noting then that for each of, like, if we look at the allocate memory, the first part here is mostly about parsing these parameters. So you can, this is the duration, if you should keep references, or how much you want to sleep, how much memory you want to allocate. This is also documented in the README, which options that can be. Now, I don't expect anyone to run this manually, so this will be triggered through the helper pod. So all of these parameters here will in the end be tunable parameters in the Litmus experiment. So that's sort of the injector itself. Any comments or questions so far?
Hey, hi, John. So, yeah, I think this looks good. Yeah, I was just going through your PI itself. So this code is, mostly around the JVM agent, which will be able to do certain operations or do certain chaos, based on threads that we are generating.
Yep.
And I see we have added kind of two cases, CPU and memory here, and which we are running based on a command flag. So this is
Yep.
like this would be like a standalone agent or a binary. And then what we want to do is in phase two is like we would be like building it and maybe having an image for it. And then phase three is like which will be using the same image, but the command would be different to trigger different types of chaos faults as part of this agent itself, right?
Yeah. And the
Mm.
image we're talking about, so I've added this to the Litmus Go repository, and the idea is to include that jar file in the, I think the image itself is called the Go runner in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. Okay. Yeah, this looks good.
I can just go the last part here, just the how this ends up. So that there are two. So now I talked about this called the fault injector. So that's the one that does things, and then we have the main here, and that's the one that inserts this code. So here is sort of the magic part that's using this Java instrumentation API. So it's looking up it's the path to itself, and then doing this, it's attaching to the JVM and then loading the jar. So here is sort of where the magic happens.
Okay. Yeah, this looks good actually to me. One thing which I was thinking, I mean, anyways, as part of phase one, what you have covered is the agent part and also two types of fault to, which kind of gives us the POC for it, right? One more thing which I was thinking is, and I think as you were showing the code, right, it will, let's say if we are triggering it for, let's just case of CPU stress, it will keep, generating the threads, and it will keep them till the duration, whatever user provides. And then once that duration is completed, it will automatically release them. But one more thing should we think about is, should we also think about the abort case as a phase one? Like, let's say if someone wants to abort this fault in between, how will they do that?
Yes. So I'm not sure exactly how it will be called. That's something that I need to figure out later. But I built in. So there's a CPU command mem and stop option.
Okay.
So the way this works now is that I have this alive flag. So this is defined because it's an atomic Boolean, means that it's a thread safe variable. So you can, if you call this, if you have an ongoing, let's say some ongoing threads that are consuming CPU, and then you call the stop command, it will set this flag alive to false. So that's really what the stop command is doing. It sets alive to false. And then if we look at these, the threads here, it says while. So first it checks if it is alive.
Okay.
So as soon as I've set that stop flag, it will, these threads will stop as well. So that's the abort case.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Then the only tricky part that I haven't figured out, that's sort of from the helper pod. How does the helper pod know that the experiment has stopped and be able to run that stop command?
Correct. Correct. Because that would be a different command itself, and that
Yeah.
how do we know, right? Or at which point that stop command will run? That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is something we need to, maybe we can discuss it, right? Maybe if we have, like, let's say next call or something, or in the thread or somewhere, let's get Shan, Shubham also, or Nilanjan also. I think that is also something which we can discuss as part of phase one. I think other than that, it looks good to me. Um, yeah. And like in background, I think I was discussing with Shubham. So I think, we were thinking, like, because this is a agent, right? So, and the Litmus Go repositories for the faults. That's where the generally the faults definitions and the business logic will be there. So your PR looks good. Maybe I will discuss it internally, but the consensus was like, maybe we will have to shift this PR to a different repository, which is test tools. That's where,
Right.
generally
Okay.
all our binaries are there. So we can build it there, and in this repository we can download it every release like that.
That was something, when I looked at this, I considered that, but then I wasn't really sure, so I thought I'd put it here first because it was easier for me. But maybe I can get, because I didn't know exactly how, if I put it in the test tools repository, how I would get it into the build there and then be able to get it into the image in Litmus Go. So I might need some help on that part.
Yeah, sure. That's where we can help also. We are also using certain, we are also building certain binaries there in the test tool itself, like DNS interceptor things, and we use the same binaries as part of chaos faults, which are in Litmus Go. So yeah, this will also be similar case, so we can help with that. So yeah, now you can keep this PR here, but I will discuss more with the other maintainers, and we will let you know via Shine.
Yeah,
So
right. But I'll consider. Okay, I won't do anything right now, but I'll consider moving it to test tools then.
Yeah, sure. That is also cool. Yeah, this looks good to me. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Hi, John. I'm Udit. Yeah, I was joined little late, but got to catch up this. This looks good. Thanks again for adding this. As Vedant mentioned, so we keep all the utils in one of the repositories. So we will see if we can keep this there and then import it. So it's very simple. We can share you some other PR references as well. About the abort case, so there could be two possibilities. We can have some graceful abort or non-graceful aborts. Let's suppose you are running it in a helper and the node itself get crashed, or you did a graceful shutdown. So in these cases, we need to see how we can call the stop functionality that you are having. So maybe something similar to channels. In Java, I think queue, blocking queue or something we can make use of. So we can just discuss that part. But
Mm.
otherwise, this looks good. And by the way, I have not gone through the PR very well. So you are taking the memory allocations. How are you taking the CPU? Are you consuming the number of cores of CPU?
No, so here I'm starting a thread for a number of threads.
Yeah. So
So
how do
each,
limit these thread? Like how do you limit it? If a user want to consume a certain course or certain amount, so how do you limit that, or is
so
it?
the only limit is the amount of threads that you're starting, and then these threads will consume as much CPU as it can, sort of. So here is the computation of Fibonacci series
Mm-hmm.
that
Okay.
will generate some sort of a load.
Makes sense. Yeah. So it's incremental. If we
Yeah.
can find way we can limit this as well, then that would be an add-on. Like if we can specify the number of cores or millicores,
Yeah,
if
so
that would.
I'm guessing that it sort of it roughly translates to, if you have, I mean, one thread for each core. I guess it's not technically, but from when I've been running this, it seems like that's what's happening in practice, that each thread consumes one core.
Yeah, yeah. We can like change that into course input probably. That will be much user friendly.
Um,
Um,
I'm not
and
sure how to actually implement that though in Java, but
it's okay. I think for the first cut, we can have this. We can brainstorm on that part later. But yeah, it's a good
yeah,
good.
I mean that can be something that if we do it this way the first time and then improve it later on. Absolutely.
Cool. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Sudhir. Thanks, Vedant, for your inputs. And thanks, Bjorn, for adding the first phase PR as well. We'll definitely circle
Yep.
back on this, take a look, and come up with some feedback, and definitely consider taking this as well. Thanks. Thanks for
Great.
sharing. Awesome. Next up, we have Christoph. Who wanted to share a couple of improvement areas, I would say. But yeah, I'd just like to hand it off to Christoph so you can talk more about
Do you hear me?
text. Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for your invitation. If you want to know the spelling of my name, it is Krzysztof in Poland. Okay.
Okay.
But you can call me Chris. It will be much shorter. Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you something about yourself. Now I'm working for the financial company. Okay. I started Litmus as POC. Okay. I cannot show you a screen of this setup I have in private repository, but I tell you my goal. First, documentation is a little bit outdated sometimes. I can show you one example. Okay. Okay, what we have here. Okay. Give me one moment. I will share my screen. Okay. Do you see it here?
Yeah, we see your browser screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I put some issues yesterday.
Okay.
Not this one, issues. Okay. First of all, installation of DEX for Litmus, from my point of view, for enterprise is crucial to have users based on passwords from external identity provider. Yes. So
yeah.
Here we have outdated link. I propose to update it. Maybe I will prepare pull request for documentation on this. Okay. I want to tell you my way of thinking. When I install Litmus, it is a great piece of software. Okay? You have done some work. Okay, but when I install something new for me, I use many documentation to use it properly. Okay, when something in documentation is outdated, I'm out of my comfort state. Okay.
Yeah.
But it is one thing. The next thing in documentation is something which is do you created Litmus agent Helm chart, okay? But I cannot see information in Litmus documentation. I know that in Artifactory Hub we have it. I put the Litmus here, and I see that it is this product from the same owner. Yes. Here we
Yes.
have. Yes, here you have here, and the next are, I think, third party. Whatever, that is not important now. Yes, because I even started to make my own Helm chart because I want to use Litmus. Yes, I want to use Litmus this way. Okay. It is my local Argo CD. I'm only using declarative approach. I cannot accept using imperative commands like index installation is now, for example. Yes. And I want to attach agents to different Kubernetes clusters only using a Helm chart or a static manifest, whatever, but using declarative way. Okay. This is okay.
Yes.
Okay. But maybe my point of view is not understandable at this moment. Okay. But the real blocker for me, maybe this one, to put Litmus forward to be used by enterprise customers, yes, we should be able to use it on OpenShift clusters also. Okay, I can prepare modification for Helm charts for OpenShift cluster usage because sometimes I'm using OpenShift's solution. I know this product. Okay, it is a problem with user ID in a security context. Okay, it is possible to do it. This question was several times on Slack. I was searching Slack channel for Litmus for maybe 2 weeks. Okay, what people are asking, what is the answer? Maybe there's no answer. This documentation, OpenShift, maybe. Okay, give me one moment here. And oh, failed. Whoa. Okay. OpenShift, Dex inside. Okay. This is the. Oh, here I see that when I have to use command probe because I'm checking endpoints with demanded custom resource, demanded CSRs. Okay, so to use it, I have to mount using my custom image. I have to mount as a secret private certificates to be able to use my endpoints. Okay, and when I created the first probe to the CMD type, okay, it looks like this source field is immutable. It is only possible to create its contents during creation of the object. It is a blocker for me because in such way I cannot use it properly. Okay, it is important. And here here. I'm using only private repository. I'm using disconnected environment, okay? I cannot pull images from Docker.io, Quay.io, and other similar repositories. So I created my private house hub. Yes, I change all the images to be using my private repository, and it is working, okay? But some of them, if I see Chaos pipeline in YAML format, I see that still I have Litmus, something like this. Still I see it is still overrated. So it is the next blocker for the enterprise to use it, okay?
Yeah.
And one thing is about Chaos Hub, because when the Litmus is installed, the default Chaos Hub is using public repository on GitHub, yes?
Yeah.
And now
Yes.
I cannot use in disconnected environment the public Chaos Hub. I have had to add my private Chaos Hub. It is working. But when I try to add experiments to my pipeline, this default Chaos Hub from public I cannot use is still giving me red red notes. It is disconnected. You see, it is not blocking my work, but looks unprofessional from my point of view. Okay? And that's all I was. So my goal is to convince you to make installation of Litmus more for disconnected environments, because in financial institution we cannot use simple public images, simple public repositories. When we have to use our own private repository, make replication and so on. It is not so easy to work this way. Okay. Okay. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, feedback duly noted, Chris, as well. These are great points that you mentioned. Do you want to share something else?
so I'm only using tools like this, yes, Flux or Argo CD.
Mhm.
Here is my local Kubernetes. So
Yeah, definitely.
I can
No, I mean,
help. I can help to prepare Helm chart. I'm preparing many Helm charts, and I'm also maintaining some set manager issuers. You see.
yeah.
But maybe one question for you. Do you have support policy for Litmus? Or maybe I didn't catch it in the documentation. Do you support only 2 last versions, 3 last versions?
Yeah, we do have like the versions
You see, I think something like Chart Manager is working. Yes, here.
yeah,
Something like this. Yes.
yes.
Okay.
We do have a list of all the versions we support. The
You don't
architect
have?
yes.
I know, but in this way you will have a lot of technical debt. You see, you see there are a lot of issues. Yes, here.
Mhm.
Almost 400. Yes, maybe not the issue, but only features and something like this. But it is a lot of work to
Yeah, it's
do
a
with them.
combination of
Yes,
feature
yes.
implementation. Yes. Yeah.
See, my goal is to convince you to
The Litmus
make
POV.
some. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
The product is excellent, believe me. Also, you make a good work with them. I was using in the past version 2. Now it is refactored to version 3. Yes, much better than the previous version. Okay, but I
Yeah.
see some kind of not comfortable errors, issues, or whatever. Okay, that's all I want to see today.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, we really appreciate you calling this out and bringing this topic. And also, you mentioned you created a list of all the issues as well, which is great. We'll definitely take a look at it. We'll also probably work with you to resolve some of them and understand the pain points even better, and then see how we can address them better. But I do want to say that we do have like a list of all the releases, a list of all the supported architectures. It's maybe scattered currently with the documentation going around, which is also one of the task we are doing as part of the LFX to gather things together. Probably a couple of months we'll have like a consolidated list of things together in one single place.
And one thing I was thinking,
Yeah.
I was checking all faults, chaos faults ready for
Mhm.
Litmus, yes. And I see that there's nothing about .NET Core applications. It is Spring Boot, yes, but nothing, for Microsoft stuff. It is hard to do it, or no one wanted it so far.
I mean, it's not like it wasn't part of the roadmap, but if you want something specifically, definitely maybe you can pitch it, and since it's community supported, you can definitely add it to the list of open faults as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can definitely add it as part of the roadmap for the next second half of the year. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, definitely we'll work with you and check out all the issues, and probably have because a lot of the things are functionally built different. Like a couple of things you mentioned as part of the image registry, as part of a couple of things pulling in Docker.io registry and things like that, which are functionally built like that. So we'll have to take a look at the business logic, change it. So it'll take a little bit of time to sort of refactor the way it works. Definitely. But yeah, we do have support for OpenShift, maybe not specifically for the Helm install and things like that, which I think Udit, Sarthak, Vedant can talk more on those things. But yeah, I do believe we have support, but like partial support everywhere, and it's more of like a community building things out as per their requirements sort of thing, which is technically slower in my opinion, but that is sort of the mental
I'm
model.
thinking about the usage of open source
Yeah.
in enterprise for enterprise customers. You see, a lot of questions that enterprise customer will ask open
Mhm.
source project. One of them is support policy. How many
Yeah.
issues are open? How many issues are closed? Is it project alive or is dead? Yes.
Yeah.
And is installation only via declarative way, only for GitOps way, and so on. Okay, I see hands.
Definitely. Yeah. Shami has raised a hand if you want to share something.
Hi everyone. So I believe Christoph, have you done or not yet? Because I'm going to share something else.
I have done. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
I have
Thanks. Thanks also for sharing some of these issues. Actually, we faced many of these. Actually, one of them was this Docker image, which we solved or worked around that using an OPA like Kyverno, which would target these images and replace the ECR with our internal one. So this one was one of the pain points. Anyway, so hi everyone, I'm Sami. I'm a site reliability engineer working at Careem, which is a ride-hailing company in the Middle East. And we have also Oba here. He's my manager. And we've been using Litmus for around 3 months now across the company. and we're still in very early phases. So one of the issues that we have faced was running AWS experiments at a scale. We've noticed some of the experiment was failing randomly, and this is one of the PRs that we've raised regarding that one, which is in the describe instance information. So the current implementation was returning that these instances doesn't have a permission, even though at the time we gave a wildcard permission on Litmus and everything related to Litmus, and it was randomly failing regarding this permission error. So after digging deeper into the code, we found that the current implementation was actually running out of tokens in AWS, and this is because the API rate limiting. So this PR added just a small fix. Also, thanks to Udit for his latest review. Yeah, sorry, I just merged, I believe, two branches. So in this operations. So this PR just added a small thing that when we send this describe instance information input, we also send what are the instances that we need to filter out, because the old implementation was getting all the instances. So imagine that you have like 4,000 EC2 instance. This describe instance will try to get them at one shot, which will absolutely running in the API rate limit. That's one of the thing. The other one is that we've also added a fallback mechanism and some jitters to retry, because even though that we already have tags, imagine that this tag is pointing to 1,000 instance, for example. So we still need some mechanism to fall back and retry. So that's it for the PR. Actually, for the last 2 months, since this one was open for 2 months, we've been using a custom image that we pushed to our internal ACR, building the same code here. And it was painful because every time we need to run an AWS experiment, we have to edit the YAML for that one and update the image. So hopefully this gets merged soon. And yeah, thanks everyone for reviewed this. Any questions?
Hey, thanks, Sami. I've gone through the PR. First of all, thanks for the contribution. This looks good, and thanks for testing this particular experiment on scale, like on thousands of instances, getting the edge cases. So yeah, we have some suggestions. I think you addressed it as well. This looks good now to me. We will get it merged quickly.
Thank you very much. So this will be released in the new version of Litmus, or will be considered as a batch to the current version?
I think it can come up in the scheduled release. I think it's on the mid of the month. It will come up with that.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Sami. Thanks, Udit, for your help and also for the review as well. Cool. That's probably it for the contrib call today. And also thanks to all of you who spoke up and also showed us the things you were working on, and also Chris for calling out on the issues. We'll definitely take a look at that, get back to you, and continue on a Slack thread. And I will keep you posted on the next steps as well and how we can improve the whole project overall. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining in and giving your time.
Thank you.
We'll meet again soon next month. If anybody has anything else they want to add, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we can wind up.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you soon. Cheers.